Jesus knew that his death was coming. Can you imagine what that would be like? I mean, yes, I understand that with my head, and I know that each one of us is dying. That's the point of this service tonight. And yet Jesus seemed to know really specifically, and he was telling his closest friends, and they just didn't get it. Why would you want to? This guy, we'd followed around there for years, and he'd shown us really amazing things. In fact, he had healed people that were in need of healing. People that had died were brought back to life again when this Jesus was there. And yet here he was telling them that he was going to die. He brought a child to sit among them and said, "Whoever wants to be first must be least of all and the servant of all. Whoever welcomes one of these children in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me isn't actually welcoming me, but rather the one who sent me." Now that's a change, isn't it? Hey friends, I'm going to die, and by the way, let's be like these kids over here. God doesn't always act in ways that we would anticipate or plan for. At least that's not been my experience. And certainly here, this juxtaposition of predicting his death and bringing a child to sit among them, perhaps a sign of life in the midst of the disciples, this change reminds us that God doesn't always act the way that we plan or the way that we anticipate. And so on this Ash Wednesday, we take a moment to reflect on the disjointed places of our lives. For you see, sometimes we say we want to live in a particular way. I want to love my neighbors, and I want to love my enemies even. At least I say that. And yet I don't always live like that. And so today is one of those days where we take a moment to reflect and consider, how do I want to live? How am I actually living? What does God want for my life? How do my actions live into that or separate me from that? When we recognize our differences from what God has in mind for us, it's called confession. It's naming those things that we know that we've done or haven't done that we need to be forgiven for. And in this story, we see that Jesus welcomes the child and that Jesus welcomes us. So that when we bring ourselves on a night like tonight, when we bring ourselves on any day or any night, God is ready to welcome us and to forgive us and to say that in the end, God wins. Love will always walk with us. And our journey to Easter is a chance to be transformed again, to open ourselves to the surprising ways that the Spirit is at work, to recognize the ways that we've done wrong, and to seek to live as a follower of Jesus. Will you pray with me? Gracious God, we come before you acknowledging our imperfections and the ways that we fall short. And we seek your forgiveness and grace. We're thankful for your teachings and your sacrificial love. Guide us to live according to your example, filled with your Spirit and committed to a path of service and humility. Amen.